everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Survival of the Fittest. We are going to discuss some most important questions from animal physiology. So let's get started. First question is, Rh antigen, also called Rh factor, was first discovered in the blood of. So Rh factor, which is called Rh antigen, is firstly discovered in rhesus monkey. That's why its name is Rh, and it is the macaca mulata. This is the scientific name of rhesus monkey, and this is discovered in 1940 by two scientists. First is Landsteiner and second is the Wiener. So Carl Landsteiner and Wiener discovered Rh factor and Rh antigen in rhesus monkey, that is macaca mulata. So option number C is the correct answer. Next question, the blood enters from right auricle to right ventricle through which valve? So we all know that this is the structure of heart. This is the roughly structure of heart. These are the Purkinje fibers. And here there is a valve is present, which is tricuspid valve, and here there is bicuspid valve. So when blood enters from these vena cava to right atrium, this is right atrium and this is left atrium, this is right ventricle, this is left ventricle. So when first blood enter into the right atrium, as we all know, then this blood enter to the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve, and this valve prevent the backflow of blood to the right atrium. Then this blood from right ventricle to come into the pulmonary valve. So this is the pulmonary valve and go to the lungs. Then this blood come back to the left atrium, and then it goes from bicuspid valve to left ventricle. Then left ventricle to this blood goes from the aorta through the aortic valve. So here this is the aortic valve. This is the roughly structure of blood flow. So here asked right auricle to right ventricle. It means this is asked about this valve, and this is the tricuspid valve. And this is bicuspid valve, which is also known as mitral valve. I hope this is clear to all of you. So here option number B is the correct answer, tricuspid valve. In this next question, asked about, this is a broad medium partition between the pleurae of the lungs and that extend from the sternum to the vertebral column in the thoracic cavity. So what is this structure? If we talk about hilum, this is the first we can draw the structure of lungs, so we can easily understand. This is the roughly structure of lungs, and here this part where bronchi and nerves and all things are enter into the lungs, this is the part of hilum. So this is not the extension of sternum, so this is not the answer. If we talk about pleura, pleura is the lining of lungs, so it is called as visceral pleura and parietal pleura. So this lining of lungs is called pleura. So this is also not an answer. And thoracic cage, if we talk about thoracic cage, here are ribs are there, so whole rib cage is called thoracic cage, and that's why this is not an answer. If we talk about mediastinum, this is a most appropriate answer, because here in the between the lungs there is a compartment, thoracic compartment, which extend from sternum to sternum from front side to back side from to the vertebral column, and it is also extend from thoracic tip to the diaphragm here. So it is extended from top to bottom and front to back side. This is structure of which is called mediastinum. So option number C is the correct for this question. Next question, the percentage of total blood volume occupied by RBC is called. So this is the very common question and very easy question. Percentage of total blood volume is called hemocrit. If we talk about the hemocrit value is 45%, that means total 45% is occupied by RBC of the total blood. And if we talk about hemolysis, then hemolysis means breakdown of RBC, and hemogenesis means synthesis of RBC. Here synthesis and formation of RBC. Hematine is an component of hemoglobin. So this is not a part of. So all the percentage of total blood volume occupied by RBC is called hemocrit value, which is also we test in our laboratory as well as in hospitals. We calculate the hemocrit value. So this option is the correct answer. Next question, in internal and external respiration, oxygen and CO2, here is the CO2, diffuses from. So we all know that gas exchange occur through the diffusion, and there are two types of gas exchange. First is internal and external respiration. So internal gas exchange and external. In internal gas exchange, there is flow of gases from blood to tissue or tissue to blood. So this type of flow. And in external gas exchange, there is flow of gases from alveoli to blood and blood to alveoli. So here we all know that internal gas exchange, there is oxygen come into the tissues and CO2 come from tissues to the blood. And these gas exchange occur on the basis of their partial pressure. We all know that partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of CO2. And this partial pressure is from higher partial pressure to lower partial pressure. So according to this knowledge, area of higher partial pressure to area of lower partial pressure, this is appropriate answer. Lower to higher नहीं हो सकता है. Both area equal partial pressure, no. Gases diffuses from their higher partial pressure to the lower partial pressure. So this is very simple question. Again, another important question. Follicular cells of Graafian follicles are connected by which one of the following? So follicular cells and Graafian follicles, which is also known as granulosa cells. These cells connected together through the gap junctions, which allows direct passage of ions and small molecules and signaling factors between adjacent cells. So this cell-to-cell communication is crucial for coordinating oocyte maturation and follicular development. So here these cells are connected through the gap junctions, so that lots of small molecules can move easily. So here, if we talk about desmosome, it is a strong communication between two cells, not allow the communication, and plasmodesmata, which is only found in the plant cells, not any animal cell, and tight junctions are very sealed the cells together, close together, so that there is no any leakage. That's why tight junction is not an answer. Here, these cells connected by the gap junctions only. So option number C is the correct answer. In this question, which fluid is found in the epithelial membranous labyrinth? So we all know that membranous labyrinth is the structure of inner ear. If we talk about if we cutting the cross section of cochlea, there is three structures are present. This is scala media and scala tympani and scala vestibules. So this is the scala tympani. This is scala vestibule. And this is the scala media. Scala media is also known as membranous labyrinth, and membranous labyrinth is found in the scala media. And here is the bony labyrinth. So between bony labyrinth there is the fluid which found in here, which is known as endolymph, and fluid found in scala vestibules, there is perilymph. And here scala tympani, there is also perilymph. And between this there is endolymph is found, and here lots of hair cells are found which help in hearing action. So if there is in endolymph there is higher potassium concentration as comparison to sodium, and in perilymph there is higher sodium concentration and lower potassium concentration. So this is the part of inner ear and located within the bony labyrinth, and it is filled with special type of fluid which is known as endolymph, and it is play a crucial role in hearing as well as balancing. So option number D is correct for this question. Endolymph is found in the membranous labyrinth and between the bony labyrinths. Cystolymph is not any term. Otolymph is not a term. It is confusing with otolith, which is ear stone, which is also known as ear stone. And perilymph is found around this endolymph or scala media. So option number D is the correct. This is very interesting question. The exocrine portion of pancreas made up of small clusters of glandular epithelial cells is known as. So here small cluster of glandular cells of pancreas, which is epithelial cell, is known as. We all know that pancreas function as exocrine as well as endocrine, and here the small cluster of cells which function as exocrine and which is known as acini, and these acini cells secrete some enzymes, like some digestive enzymes like lipase, amylase, as well as trypsinogen, and these secrete into the pancreatic duct which open into the duodenum of the intestine. And if we talk about endocrine part of the pancreas, there is cluster of cells which is known as islets of Langerhans, and here different type of cells are present like alpha cell, beta cell, delta cell. So these cells secrete different type of hormones like glucagon secreted by alpha cell, beta cell secrete insulin, and delta cells secrete somatostatin. So this is all about pancreas, and exocrine portion of the pancreas is known as acini. Islet of Langerhans, this is the endocrine part, and colloids are not the part of this. Colloids are part of the thyroid gland, not the pancreas, and alveoli, we all know that part of the lungs. So option number A is correct for this question. In this question, the injury of which cranial nerve causes difficulty in swallowing and tachycardia, that is increased heartbeat. We all know that tachycardia means increasing the heartbeat. So which nerve causes these type of difficulties? There is 10th nerve, which is also known as vagus nerve. This is play a crucial role because this is function as a motor as well as sensory nerve. So this control the swallowing or motor innervation of pharynx as well as larynx. So this difficulty in swallowing or dysphagia is occur due to injured or impaired of vagus nerve due to impairing laryngeal muscles, and this also control speech and heart by parasympathetic control. So this is controlling heart by parasympathetic control. So due to absence of this difficulty injury in this nerve, and the parasympathetic function is not occur, that's why there is increase in the heartbeat, and it is also function in the gastrointestinal motility. So these are major function of vagus nerve or 10th cranial nerve. So here option number C is the correct for this question. If we talk about 7th cranial nerve, also known as facial nerve, and it controls the facial muscles as well as chest, not the swallowing or heartbeat. So this option is wrong. And if we talk about 5th cranial nerve, that is trigeminal nerve, and it is mainly involved in facial sensation and mastication, not in swallowing or swallowing or heartbeat. So this is trigeminal. And if we talk about 11th cranial nerve, that it is known as accessory nerve, and it involved in head and shoulder movement, not in swallowing or heartbeat. So these all options are incorrect. 10th nerve, that is vagus nerve, is correct for this question. In this question, the following enzymes are present in pancreatic juice. So in which enzymes are present in the pancreatic juice? As we already discussed, there's amylase, trypsinogen, and no renin are present. Amylase and trypsin, lipase, and carboxypeptidase. These are enzymes present in the pancreatic juice. Here it is wrong because renin is not present in the pancreatic juice because it is present in the infants for digesting milk and for digestion of milk in infants, and maltase and peptidase, these all are present in the intestine, in the succus entericus or intestinal juice, not in the pancreatic juice. and pepsin is also not present in the pancreas because it is secreted by the stomach to digest protein. So this is from stomach, and this is part of succus entericus or intestinal juice, and renin is found in the infant for digesting milk. So option number B is correct for this question. In this question, the medulla oblongata of brain connects with the spinal cord through which foramen? So we all know that medulla oblongata connect to the spinal cord through the foramen magnum, and it is the part of occipital bone, and it transmits the medulla oblongata. Foramen magnum transmits the medulla oblongata as well as vertebral arteries and some spinal accessory nerves like some spinal accessory nerves and meninges. So these are transmits by foramen magnum through the skull to the spinal cord. So option number C is correct. Foramen rotundum and foramen lacerum, these are also found in the nervous system, and foramen rotundum is transmits the maxillary nerve of trigeminal nerve. So it is the transmit maxillary nerve. Foramen lacerum, it is cartilaginous and transmits small nerves also. Foramen Winslow is not found in nervous system, it is found in the digestive system, and it is found in the digestive system or abdomen. So it connects the lesser and larger sac of the peritoneum. So this is about this question. Option number C is the correct answer. This question is from excretory system. So a network of tiny blood capillaries located at the beginning of nephron is called. So as we all know that this is the afferent arteriole and this is efferent arteriole, and here some network of capillaries are found, and this is surrounded by Bowman capsule. So these are blood capillaries known as glomerulus. This is Bowman's capsule which filter the blood. So option number is the correct. If we talk about renal caries, these collect the blood from renal pyramids. So this collect from renal pyramids, and in renal pyramid this is found in the kidney medulla portion of the kidney, and in this there are lots of tubules are present which filter the urine. So option number D is the correct answer for this question. Next question is, the absorption of fructose by intestinal mucosa is achieved by which method? So we all know that in intestinal mucosa fructose is transported by special type of transporter which is known as GLUT5 transporter for fructose transport, and this is achieved by the facilitated diffusion because this is transport through the transporter, and transporters are present for the facilitated diffusion. So here no any ATP is used, but there is special type of carrier protein is used which is known as transporter or GLUT5. Co-transport mechanism involved for glucose transport, where glucose is transported with sodium ion, and simple diffusion is not occur because these are polar molecules and larger molecules, so these are not diffuses directly, and simple diffusion occur for the gases like CO2 and oxygen. Active transport uses ATP, so here not any use of ATP for the fructose transport. So option number C is the correct answer. In this question, the aquatic mammals have oblique diaphragm for what? So as we all know that aquatic mammals like whale, dolphins and seals, there are oblique diaphragm is present, and this makes the thoracic cavity large for more space to the lungs for expansion. So this helps in the lungs expansion so that they're sustaining prolonged dive underwater and storing more oxygen for sustaining prolonged dives into the water, and it's increase the vertical dimension of thoracic cavity and allows greater lungs expansion, and it is very crucial for aquatic habitat. That's why this option is correct. Let body temperature, not body temperature. There is some another structure like blubbers are present for regulating body temperature and support the spine during swimming. This is related with the skeletal system and aids in digestion. No any direct role of diaphragm in the digestion. So option number A is the correct answer. In this question, the hypersecretion of cortisol by adrenal cortex produces. So, due to hypersecretion of cortisol, this causes symptoms like a syndrome which is Cushing syndrome, and it is due to the tumor in the adrenal gland and pituitary gland, because due to secretion of higher amount of ACTH, this also increases for hypersecretion of cortisol. So this is about Cushing syndrome, and here some symptoms of Cushing syndromes like moon phase and thickening of skin, and also central obesity, muscles weakness, hyperglycemia and hypertension. So these are the symptoms of Cushing syndrome. If we talk about addition disease, this is the hyposecretion of cortisol and aldosterone. Note the hypersecretion. And diabetes insipidus is related with antidiuretic hormone and related with kidney and pituitary gland. It is secreted from pituitary gland, posterior pituitary, antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. So this is not an answer. And Graves' disease is related with hypersecretion of thyroid gland. So this is not related with the adrenal gland. It is Graves' disease is also known as hyperthyroidism. So option number B is correct for this question. This is the last question of this video, and these all are questions about animal physiology. So in animal physiology, there are lots of questions are asked in this paper. So here, which of these is an accessory reproductive gland found in male humans? So we all know that in male human there are 3 accessory reproductive glands are present. First is seminal vesicles, and second is prostate gland, and other one is bulbourethral gland, which is also known as Cowper's gland. So these are the accessory reproductive gland in the male humans. And here if we look at the option, there is prostate glands are there. So this gland secrete alkaline fluid which increase the movement of sperm. So this is correct for this question. Lacrimal gland is found in tears, and gastric gland we all know that related with the gastrointestinal tract. So option number B is the correct answer for this question. So these all about animal physiology questions. I hope these this information will help you. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel for more updates. We will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.